from my phone. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all doing great at your home. Yeah. Today is a very, very good day. We are truly blessed because today we're talking about homeschooling once again. Because after the first part, we had some good feedbacks and a lot of people were asking about it. So this time around, we're so lucky to have a good friend of mine um, on board, and she'll talk about homeschooling. Just to give you a brief background about her, her name is Earl. We call her Beauty back in the days in college. So, but now would like to call her as Earl. So Earl is a co-founder and speaker of Lead Out Coaching and Consultancy, which provides seminar training programs for corporate and personal transformation. She's done TV before. She's part of a lot of stuff these days. And we will find out what are those stuff she's doing at the moment in a few minutes. Let me check on her. Earl, are you there?
Yes. Hello, Jen. Hello.
Hi!
It's amazing to see you this way after college. Does it have to take this
I
long?
know, I know. That's what I told you last night. I miss you a lot, grabe. And yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just seeing you from afar. Ayan. That's why when I chatted you, was it Wednesday? Yeah,
was
it's
it?
Wednesday. I sent a message and I was asking because I know I've heard you say you were doing homeschooling, but I'm not very sure. I know you're very busy. I can see a lot of your posts all the time. You're here and there and everywhere. So I'm just so thankful that you accepted my invitation for
It's
you
a
to come and talk
privilege.
about homeschooling. Yeah, yeah. So I know earlier you saw John, yeah. So guys, I just wanted to say thank you to another classmate of ours, John. Yeah, John Parado, yeah. We call him Butch back in the days. Yeah,
Yes.
so he's sponsoring all this live streaming so you can see a different look on Real Talk with Jenny today. Ayan. Earl, the last time I
Yes.
saw you, what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, college after graduation. So I felt
So
like
after
this is
graduation,
like,
we still have bits. I think we've been together in an event pa. It's just like a year
yes,
after, right?
I think six
So
months
ano
after
nangyari?
graduation.
There are a lot of
Many things. So I
yeah.
don't know where we'll
Bago
begin.
tayo, yeah, yeah. Before we come to homeschooling, tell me what's going on with you.
There are many things going on with me. Actually, I'm really thrilled to see John here. I felt like this is the entire television, a TV production project all over again in a whole new level. So it's giving me so much memories and excitement to touch base with everybody. These are actually, you're my thesis mate, Jenny. Don't forget. And I know I was not I was a little pushy thesis leader, and I know you must probably hate me before for doing that, but I think now that we are maturing and starting to get really settled in life, yeah, there's so many things that have happened, and I don't know where to begin. I think I got married 11 years ago. Shortly after that, I did corporate training on transformation. Then, shortly after that, we entered full time into ministry doing evangelism and apologetics, and of course, spiritual formation. So that's where I am, and of course, doing something for women as well. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for what, how could I serve you? What can I provide? And I am just excited to interface with you, and I hope for those people listening, I hope it's worth your time and worth your afternoon on a Sunday to listen to us. And I hope you can get a lot from this conversation too. So back to you, Jenny.
Yes. Actually, you know what? In the first episode was Pia that I know. So, yun yung part one. So, although I already approached Pia like 4 years ago, sabi ko, Pia, I saw you posting about homeschooling. Um, how is it? So, so kinwento niya lahat and everything. So, parang medyo na-encourage ako to do it. But then after a while, thinking, na-chicken ako, hindi ko siya natuloy. So, ayun. And then, you know, this pandemic time, di ba? Hindi tayo nakakalabas. And then, our school system will change.
Mhm.
DepEd has already announced that it will be like online classes, right? So, I think, and many parents have approached me na to do this episode on homeschooling. Kasi there are a lot of questions in mind, di ba? Ano yan, hindi makakapag-socialize yung mga anak kapag ka nag-homeschool, right? And then those were actually questions then with Pia earlier. But I know Pia, no, she's our classmate. But then afterwards, she took up education. So parang meron siyang teacher feel, parang ganyan. So yung iba, they were thinking na, oh, it was easy for Pia because she's a teacher. Diba? So I thought
Mhm.
maybe we could ask another homeschooling mom about her journey, like yourself. First and foremost, how did you end up with homeschooling? Was it your earlier after after getting married, or when you had your first child, firstborn? Yun na ba yung thing in mind?
Okay. Actually, ang dami mong issue na ni-raise, Jenny, but let me put
Yeah,
things.
you can share it with us, di ba?
Yeah, yeah. So first perspective, you're
Lessons
right.
learned, yan yung mga gusto.
I'll begin with the perfect scenario of our time, right? And sabi mo nga, everybody is migrating into this online platform for homeschooling because of the pandemic. And that really posed a lot of challenge for traditional school kasi hindi naman sila sanay dun eh, right? So it would take a lot of effort and work for the traditional school to go online because this is new. They just have to adapt to the change and the call of the times. But homeschooling has been there even before the pandemic, and we have been doing this online, and that's why I've done this for, I think this is my third year, and yeah, this is my third year homeschooling. I am actually I am with a I think they're the pioneer provider for homeschooling in the Philippines. That's Homeschool Global. You can actually check them out. And they've been doing this for years. I think more than 20 years or almost 20 years or so. I mean, check the facts, okay? But they've been doing it, and now with the pandemic, hindi ako nahihirapan to transition because I'm in it already. In fact, I'm helping other friends to consider like, this might be a good option for you if you're starting really like, what is homeschooling? Paano ba gagawin to? Ang dami kasing misconception about homeschooling. Ang dami kasing questions about it. And for me, honestly, Jen, you know naman, I married late. So I had my child. I married late. So unlike you, 5 na anak mo. Galing mo naman. I have, yeah, I married late. So I had my first child at 34. To be honest with you, hindi ko inisip in my entire life that I'm cut for homeschooling. I was convinced na hindi para sa akin yan. Like, you know what? I want to be a best mom, but I know I'm a good teacher. I think I'm a teacher by nature. There's something in me that I love teaching. But I thought homeschooling is not for me. So my first child actually went to traditional school for 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Now, to answer your question, paano ako nag-transition? Like, how did jump into it? So a lot. I'm actually surrounded.
What was that main thing or bayan or something that made you switch and finally decide going to do homeschooling?
Yeah. I'm already okay. Let's begin with really. This is really what happened, right? To create a context, because when you're homeschooling and you don't really know why you're doing it and you're not clear why you're doing it, it's gonna be miserable. So I'm gonna walk you through the why of homeschooling. Like I said, 3 years in raising my first child, I'm clear I'm not for homeschool. You know that I've always been in my career, but I know I'm also committed to build my home, to build my relationship and children. I'm sure that it's my first job or my first call. I just use the word call, meaning for me, it's expected of me as a mother to raise my child. And I love it. I subscribe to that na ako dapat ang may imprint doon. But sabi ko nga, hindi ko kaya. But I'm also surrounded with a community of mothers and women who have done homeschool. I feel like, that's not for me. But then one day, this is really what happened. And already, me and my husband from media and entertainment, we switched to ministry. Ministry is giving our life into serving the church and serving the body of Christ. And if you're a believer, that's what you do if you are called to do that. So following my husband, we went into this in the past 5 years, 6 years now. And of course, I'm exposed to those people who are been there, who've been doing it. But I said, no, it's not for me. But the more I think about it, I have to ask myself, why am I so averse? Bakit ayaw nga? Bakit ayaw ko? So when I was going through it, I was so worried about, oh my gosh, I cannot have this kasi ang dami kong checklist kasi tinitingnan ko yung mga paano nila ginagawa eh. That's not for me. I'm not patient. I don't have my own schoolroom. I can't do that. Kumbaga, bago pa ako magsimula, puro na ako, I can't do that. So I have to pause.
Yeah.
And I have to pause and said, what is really my value? What am I really doing this for? Am I doing this for because am I precious? Everybody around me is doing it? Or am I really doing this for because I'm called to do this? And I never had the pressure from my husband, mind you, by the way. It happened when I was in the hospital. Pag tumatanda ka na, Jenny, you're very clear of your life. Meaning,
alam ko yan.
what is my life really for, right? Like, I think you said it earlier. I've done many things, which is quite accurate. I think you know me from college, how I've always been after many things and accomplishing all those. And then I asked myself when I was in the hospital, I was actually thinking about what is my purpose in life, by the way, right? I mean, I've done a media company, I've set up this, I've set up that, I've done that. So I asked myself, what am I really here for? That was the question. Walang kinalaman ng homeschooling. Then I was in the hospital. Okay. It just hit me that I'm meant to teach. I'm meant to equip people. I'm meant to do this, to speak, to teach, to equip. So it hit me like, then why can't I begin with my own children? So it doesn't matter kung sino ang kaharap ko. It doesn't matter kung ano ang platform, online man, on live man. But it really hit me like, I'm not kidding. We were all sick, so Judah can't even visit me. So I was there in the hospital bed. If I am called to speak and teach and equip women to begin with, why can't I do it with my own children? So the idea of homeschooling became a reality. Meaning I have a bigger context bakit ko ginagawa to. Like I want to be the one to imprint in the mind of my child and build their character. It's not that I have to do it. Because if I have to do it, I will be miserable because I don't enjoy it. Because sabi ko nga, when I stopped working in the corporate world, I noticed that women who are in the home should be the most highly paid women because it's so
Yeah,
difficult. It's so difficult
it
to
is.
raise a home. It's so difficult to run a household. Kasi pag nasa corporate ka, alam mo yun, 9 to 5 ka lang, or kung workaholic ka, you go extra, right? You have promotion, you have payment, pero sa bahay, wala. So, I know, like, I'm
Four
not gonna
hours
do
pa
that.
lang.
Exactly. At saka walang vacation yon. Hindi pwedeng, di ba? Anytime, 24/7 yon. So when I had that realization, as I call it na, yeah, if I am meant to teach and speak and equip, why can't I begin with my children? So that was the why I have to do it. It's consistent to what I'm called to do that I wrestled with over the years. Hindi to instant, Jenny, ha? It was a year of asking myself, look, what is life for? What am I really here? I know I can do many things, but I want to hit the nail of what should I do. And if I am to speak and if I am to teach, I should begin with my children. So that's when right away I contacted Homeschool Global. I said, okay, we travel a lot. We go around town and off the country and inside the region. What would work? And they have platforms for you, or they call it track, and you can find out to check it out what would suit best for you. So to answer your question, yes, I said yes to homeschooling because it's consistent to answering the question of why I'm doing it. It's consistent to what I'm called to do as long as I live. So whether my children or other people, I'm called to teach and speak.
So is 10, is that right? Is
What?
10? Three.
My eldest? Yes, Jen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Your eldest is 10, right? So
Yeah,
oh,
my daughter now is turning
wait.
10 years old. My daughter is now turning 10 years old. I started her homeschooling at the age of, she was grade 3 actually. So she was in the traditional school for kinder 1 and 2. Pag grade 3, nag-homeschool kami. Grade 4, so it's my second year. And then my second child, Emma, who entered kindergarten, what entered homeschooling this year. And then my last child, my 4.5-year old, is going to be incoming kinders. So tatlo na. There's 3 of them homeschooling in a different level and different tier.
Oh, all right. So how does it work? I mean, first you have a provider, is that right? So that's
Yes.
Homeschool Global.
School Global. Yeah. Their
Yeah.
main center is in Pasig, but they're all over the Philippines, and in fact they're outside also the region, meaning they're in other countries. They're also there.
What were your criteria or your checklist in choosing a provider? I mean, just for all the
Yes.
viewers also to have some thoughts.
Yes.
'Cause they don't know where to go. They don't know exactly
Yeah.
what they should look at, right? Especially
Yeah.
um, starting at this point pa lang.
Very good question, Jen. Yeah, number one, I think, yeah, like, you have to really ask, like, be clear of your values, and you have to, meaning, what do you value as a family? Like, what do I want from my children, right? So you have to look for a provider that's consistent with that value. So, and that's number one, consistency with your value. Number two, you have to look for a provider that would also meet the standards of your allocation of your funds, meaning, is it cost effective for you? It's not too high, it's not too low, but just right. Accredited, there's accreditation. It's holistic approach, meaning to say they are not just looking into the academic program for your children, but they have other tracks for, let's say, the development of your child's psychosocial development. So they have arts, they have music, they have other aspects that would provide you a choice to choose from. Like, I want that. Kasi alam mo, minsan kasi iniisip ng mga tao na pag nag-homeschool ka, walang social life yung mga bata. And that's really a
Yes, yes.
misconception. That's a big
That
misconception
that
because,
was yeah, that was the first thing that um pag narinig nila yung word na homeschool, ay, Sa bahay lang sila.
Oo.
Paano yan?
Oo.
Di ba ka
No,
mag-try na,
kawawa
alam mo yun, when they are outside, they would know how to mingle with other kids. Or,
yeah, parang kawawa yung bata. Actually, we're very social being. I think you've known me. But like I said, if you develop if you know your provider, what you're looking for your family, because homeschooling is a family decision. It's not just a decision for a parent. It's not just a decision for a child, or it's a family who is gonna be involved in raising the child. Diba? So kaya nga, you've heard the old adage that says it takes a community to raise a child. It takes a village. So you find that provider that would provide you that aspect na akala nila maiiwanan pag nag-homeschool ka. Pag nag-homeschool ka, there are what you call co-op, meaning to say a group of parents in your own, they're actually very strategic depending on your location, right? So kung may area ka na dito ka lang, di ka pwedeng umalis, may mga co-op, may gathering constantly. In fact, ikaw ang mauubusan. Ang dami mong option. Pwedeng mag-piano, mag-violin, mag-science. There's just so many things, and dancing, all that. You love to sing, you love to dance. Jenny, we were together in the dance troupe before, right? So,
we can still do
yeah,
it.
yes, there are a lot of options that your child can choose consistent surround your child and you also. So hindi. And you're actually constantly looking for they curate activities that's gonna be supplementary to the development of your child. So nasa sayo yun kung pipiliin mo hindi. Hindi ka magkukulang. Actually, ikaw ang susuko. Kasi daming choice. You just have to be strategic also. Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin, sasalihan mo lahat, di ba? Kasi kung sasalihan mo lahat, you're gonna deplete your child also. So really think. It's like planning, like like if you've been either you're a mom who's been so used in a corporate world, treat it that way. Like make a plan for the education for your child. Consider your cost, consider your venue, consider of course the accreditation and the projection where you want your child. Like sayo, alam ko yung anak mo is in middle school, right? Papuntang college na yan. Like, yeah, you have to look for a provider that could also place your child in a better university later. So marami kang pag-iisipan. And I hope that answered your question. It's a fallacy, it's an error, it's a misconception, and I want you to consider that socially your child will not be left out because there are a lot of supplementary activities recommended. It's up to you to do it or not. And you have a lot of co-op. You have a lot of parents actually who will constantly children. Hindi nila yan eh. I don't want my child to be left out in this. So ang dami sports. Kasi titingnan mo rin kung ano yung style ng bata, yung learning capacity ng bata. Because every child is so different. When a child is not performing, most people think that is the problem of the teacher. Actually, you have to, what's the academic path of my child? That's why there are people who offer, like in homeschool, they have 2 tracks that you can consider. One is touch, meaning to say you're the one teaching. Ikaw nanay, ikaw magtuturo. But they also have a curriculum where they call it tech. I don't know, it has a different name for other provider, but for HD, this is how you use. Like, sila magtuturo, you're provided with a tech track and they have internet online curriculum that you just follow. Quizzes, tests, projects. So, hindi ikaw nanay. Kung ayaw mo talaga super hands-on, paano kung single mom ka or you can't really do that like some people can do. Like for me, it's not all the time I can do it, right? So, mini-marry ko yung touch and tech. Kasi when we travel and I'm speaking or doing work, iiwanan ko sila dun sa tech para sila na lang. And they have really high caliber teachers that can do that. International internationally accredited. So you can have that too. I do a mix. I do a mix of yes. Like I said, they will curate something for you that would work for you. Kasi ako, gusto ko talaga, ako ang in the forefront. Ako yung magtuturo sa anak ko. But I'm also realistic with my capacity kasi you only have 24 hours and there are other things that you have to work. Nanay ka pa, may household ka, may asawa ka, may trabaho ka, may business ka. Diba? So, I have to think of, okay, twice a week. So, nasa sayo na yun. They can have an online
But that's
teacher
good to
and they
know.
can provide that for you.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's good to know. Kasi all the while we think homeschooling is, we as moms, we're the only one who's gonna do it throughout the school year, kumbaga, 'di ba?
Oh,
And
no. In
yun, I
fact,
think that's
okay.
that's for me, that's one of my fear when I was thinking about it. Kasi sabi ko, gosh, baka I'm not equipped to teach all the things sa kids ko, 'di ba?
Yeah. And your provider actually will equip you. I think that for people who are considering to
Also, they have
homeschool,
guides.
yes, they have
Sorry, do they
training, they
have
have,
guides?
again, guide.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. They have a
Yeah.
guide. They have
They,
trainings and all to
yes.
teach the
They have
kids
what you call
how to do it.
the introduction to the homeschool. It will tell you. So that parang ganun lang din, anything you do, you have to know what you're dealing with, right? A lot of people, the
Yeah.
reason why they're stuck or stuck or afraid to even try and move on because they are already what you call that, napapangunahan na ng takot or misconception or I can't do
Mm.
this. So go there, check
Yeah.
it out. Like join an introduction. Like what is homeschooling, right? Go, even if you have no plans.
Yeah.
I did that too. Me and my husband did that. Like I have to attend because I have an idea about homeschool, but what is really homeschool? And we go to experts who have given their time and energy to build this. So when I list up, ganun pala siya. So go. Number one, deal with why are you not doing it? And look at why you should do it. Then go to the experts that would present to you objectively the pros and
Mm-hmm.
cons about it. And then you evaluate. Then you evaluate if it's for you.
Yeah. But the best thing is at least you try it, right? You wouldn't know unless you try it.
Yeah, anything in life, if you will not try, you only fail when you haven't even started and when you quit. So go check. If you are considering homeschool, mean to say one of your foot is already in. Ibig sabihin, pinag-iisipan mo na. The reason why you're stuck, it's either you say yes or no after careful evaluation, after careful study, like, alam mo, hindi ko kaya. So, Jenny, what I really want to say right now, a lot of my expat friends, no? So most of their children are in the traditional
Mm-hmm.
school, international traditional school.
Yeah.
With this entire pandemic, the effect of it, like I said, traditional school are lagging in that. I'm sure they will catch up. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of entry barrier na kailangan mo na lang i-cross para mas stable. So, if you are really thinking na ikaw lang din yung mag-homeschool, less pa ang tuition, go na lang to homeschool providers already. Kung ganyan lang. Oo, di ba? Oo, kasi
Tama ka
mas...
dyan. Alright. Yeah. Before we move on, let's just greet a few friends who are watching at the moment. So, hi, Ray. We have Rachel. I homeschool all my kids too until to Doha. So, met her in Doha. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for watching. Sandy, our watching, and she said, hi, classmates. Hello, Sandy. We miss you. Bigla akong naisip, you're missing, just passed away, um, recently. So, yeah. Okay, so Peace, hi. My he's here. Dottie, Kang is here. Hello,
Oh, wow.
everyone.
Everybody's on board.
And moving on,
All right.
feel free to type it in, and then Earl will be happy to answer it for us. And guys, later on, we will have a homeschooler, an experience from a homeschooler himself later on to watch out. Hi, Mina. All right. Um, quickly ask, what were the struggles? Ayan, dun tayo sa medyo not so
Struggles.
good picture. What were the
Yes, of
struggles
course.
you were starting to homeschool your child?
Okay. Yes. You have to be realistic about this. There's the beauty and power of
Okay.
homeschooling. There's also what you call the struggle. And like I said, like
Yes,
any going to war, you have to know what you have to deal with. So for me, and it can be
exactly.
different to every mom, okay? Don't think na, ay, alam mo, ganyan siya, dapat ganyan din ako. Ay, meron siyang kompletong setup, dapat may kompletong setup din ako. Kasi iba-iba ho tayo. Iba-iba ang buhay natin, iba-iba ang um, we're in different places and different seasons and times of our
Yeah.
lives, right? So for me, the first struggle for me was number one, I was doing, meaning I was working. I have a company to run and we have a ministry to serve. So in terms of time allocation, I thought of, kaya ko ba to, right? So nahirapan talaga ako noon to work my schedule. So overtime as one. Number two, I was dealing with a physical space because we live in a condominium. So
Yeah.
we live in a condominium. We're a very mobile family because my husband is an itinerant, so there's an opportunity. But right now we're here in the Philippines and we're with church in Pasig. I don't know if you've heard Christ Commission Fellowship. So we serve there. So I was dealing with my physical space. I live in a two bed. At first we had a 3 bedroom, then we moved a 2 bedroom because I was in my idea. It's like they have to have their own space, they have to have their own room, and I have to deal with my own
Yeah.
issue about that, okay? Normally, ang problema ng nanay, hindi talaga problema ng anak. It's just my nanay's problem of, no, it should be this way. I have my own space. So I have to let go of
Exactly.
that. Like, it should be a certain way. Or life should be this way. My homeschooling should be this way. So when I settled with that this is my space, so how could I make it work? Of course, I have to set the structure of like, this area is homeschool, especially pag nagsisimula ka lang. But I think ang pinaka-importante is time. Like, you have to set up the structure. And I think that's not my problem because, you know, Jen, how structured I am when it comes to that. Dapat nagsimula ang ganitong oras, right? So we
Yes.
begin the day. I give them a time to begin. So at their own pace also, and push them a little bit. Like, okay, together our family should begin. This is where you should have our homeschooling for now. Let's say a portion of my living room. Sa akin, ginamit ko yung dining area ko na malapit kung saan yung mga books. And then I give them a compartment to put all their cubby holes for their things. And I have to tell the children, like, you know, schooling is wherever, learning is wherever you are. You can bring school everywhere. So, basta meron lang silang structure of, by this time, ito ang gagawin ko. And yes, physical space is part of the training of the child. Para alam niya, may separation niya, this is my school time. So I make that holy for them. But over time, mag-a-adjust din yan eh. Kasi like we said, we travel. So when we travel, bit-bit nila yung homeschool material nila. So ngayon, nakikita nila na, hindi, homeschooling doesn't have to be in the classroom. Right? So you can actually create classroom. So it's really up to you. What kind of culture or atmosphere of homeschooling? Because some people, they really recreate a classroom, and that's good. But for us, it's like I said, we're very mobile. We go for different places to do our work. We bring the children. But I keep the time. So even if mommy's working, so do your time. Then I have a schedule for where they can have their break, where they have their playtime, and where they have their piano, their violin. And then the rest of the time, pagdating ng 2 o'clock, puro play na lang yan sila. Tapos na kami. So time allocation is very important. You have to structure them with the time. And the space, yes, give them a space that this is a homeschooling space. So, andun yung artwork, mga material nila. But pag medyo magtagal ka na, like sa akin, this is my 3rd year, medyo flexible na kami. Right? And they have to have a schedule too. Kasi merong, in homeschool global, we have a portfolio review para sa touch people that ang mommy ang nag-homeschool. So after a quarter, there will be an advisor para meron ka rin help. They provide help. Hindi talaga, it's not true na ikaw lang on your own. No. It's not true. There's a lot of rails or guardrails or support that's provided so that you can actually be guided also. So every quarter, okay, so my child will prepare that, the next quarter, the next quarter. So let's say in 1 year, what is required for homeschool is 200. Kung mabilis ka, with the pace of the child, di mabilis ang mommy ha, tapos kawawa yung bata. Huwag naman ganon. So pag ang child, kasi you have to find out the mom and the child. So kung mabilis ang pace ng child, you give them an option. Like, you know what, you can really focus in your work so that you finish early and you have more longer vacation. So, flexible talaga. It really works, the flexibility. So, like, pag magkasakit ka, hindi naman like, oh my gosh, kawawa naman, I'm so delayed. You can actually catch up. It releases that pressure so much, but structure has to be number one. Number one is why are you homeschooling? Number two is the provision of the structure of how to homeschool. And surround yourself with resources, not just physical but human resources to help you kung sino makakatulong sa'yo. Like, kasi may mga nag-homeschool, like sa'yo, no? Kung papayag ka, Jenny, mag-homeschool ka na. Let's say kung mag-homeschool ka na nasa mid-level na yung mga anak mo, iba din yon. And a lot of people have done that. Yung multi-level, tapos first time nila, pa-high school na yung bata, tapos yung youngest mo, 7 years old. So there are many things you have to really consider.
Do it all at the same time. Parang ganon. Kahit na sama-sama sila.
Yes, depende sa'yo. Like I said, it really depends for you. Like, my grade 5, Sophia, she's quite, her structure is set up in her. Meaning she knows already. She doesn't need so much supervision like the younger ones. And I have to really make tutok on the younger ones. So she knows by this time, alam niya, English, math, break, tapos schedule, and then she's done. Mommy, I want to finish early. Can I do this? Right? Mommy, can I do this because I want to... So, very flexible. So, you're teaching the child the responsibility also. And the accountability that however you perform, yes, I will guide you. Pag medyo malaki na yung bata, no? Pero tinuruan mo na sa umpisa. They can regulate themselves na. Now, if I want to play longer, then I have so much more in studies. But if I finish my school... Diba? If I finish my school fast and right, not just fast, okay? Right. Doing it right, but you're not cruising through it. I mean, you're not like rushing, but really get the learning. Kasi ang importante sa homeschool naman, Jenny, is they got the concept, an idea. And if they could apply it in their lives. That's homeschooling. Like, you can really like, okay, why am I... Yes, it's that, and that's very hard to learn. Self-discipline, iba yung imposed discipline that's necessary. Exactly. But the higher level of discipline is the internal discipline, the one that you regulate yourself. So, pag anak ka, pag kinder, grade 1, grade 3, wala pa yan grade 3. Pagdating ng mga grade 4, meron na yan. But you have that because you formed them earlier.
So how many hours do you spend like for each child?
So there's actually...
For your adult, parang a day ba siya? Or when you were starting, until now? I know now you said it's already flexible, right? But when you were starting...
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm flexible in terms of where we do it. But I really keep the structure of Monday to Thursday. Kasi for them, they have what you call MAPE, the music, arts, and PE time. So that's once a week. So I have, kasi kami, dinadala ko sila sa center. I mean, sa Homeschool Global in Ayala 30th. That's the hub, right? So lahat ng MAPE classes nila, nandun din. PE, ballet. So isang araw na yun kasi nagka-travel ka. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, academic. Then I give them a break on Thursday for all their arts and PE. Then Friday, we go back to a lighter class. So para weekend, wala talaga silang ginagawa. They're just really playing. Right? And of course, pag yung... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I keep the structure. That's... So kung depende kasi sa age ng bata, they have a computation. Let's say if your child is kinder, no? Dapat dyan 2 hours a day lang yan. 2 hours a day. Then you add a little plate, 3. You can't go more than that because you also have to understand the retention of the child, the focus of the child.
Yeah.
Magkakaiba yan eh. So depending on the level. So, and they will equip you. You will understand, okay, ito hanggang dito lang. Like for my grade 4, I begin at 9. And of course I have a break at 11:30. Every 45 minutes I have a break for their eyes. Then by the time that's 2, we're done. Pero kung gusto pa niya, kasi she loves learning and there's other supplementary lessons, gusto niya, kasi a lot of interaction like araling panlipunan. Who wants to study araling panlipunan, right? Or civics, right? So, but since, who wants to study that? So I'm like, why? I have to memorize all those. It's not the memorization, but if she understands, if I can create a timeline for her, na ito ang nangyayari sa Pilipinas, ito yung kultura, and it works because I'm a reporter, I've seen the country, I've seen the Philippines, I understand the culture very much. Mas nai-intrigue yung bata because I really bring them to the reality. So for them, when they read the book, like, yeah, this is what it is. And then now you can see the current events, what's happening. So you're actually teaching them how to think. That's for me. That's focal for me. Like, how am I going to teach my children how to think? Para hindi lang puro book. They have to understand what the book is teaching and bring it to their lives, right? Like, why study history? Like, actually, pag nag-aaral siya ng kanyang mystery of history, meaning the world civilization, ako ba natututo? I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot all this. And why is my grade 3 studying? So it's fun. And then they ask you questions and you're there to, Jenny, more than the academics of homeschooling is you're really forming the character of your child. And for those people who are familiar with scripture, meaning the Bible, it says, I think it's in Proverbs 14, it says that every wise woman should build her own homes, meaning she'll build her own house. And the foolish one tears it apart. Hindi ibig sabihin na tayo ang magkarkarpentero, but you're building your home in wisdom. So wisdom is not just in academics, this is not just in day-to-day, magkasama lahat yan, holistic lahat yan. So if that's your value, as that is the value for me, build your home in wisdom. So how will you raise a child? I remember this. I'm not a homeschool. I wasn't a product of homeschool, but my mother told me this, that I trained you so that when you grow up, babalik at babalik ka sa path. So it's actually found. There was in scripture, it says, train up a child in the way that he should go, so when he grows up, he will not depart from it. Kasi lahat naman tayo nawawala sa landas minsan, right? Matagal ako nawala sa landas, Jenny.
Very true yan.
Right? Oh, but there's always an opportunity to go back to that path. And because they know that there is a path to life. There is a path to fullness of life. And homeschooling is not the end all and be all. It's not the end all and be all. It is a way for you to usher you to the chief end of why you're living your life. So you have to find out what is that path, and that path is available to those who seek the truth.
Getting more exciting. I think a lot of people are getting more excited. Let's just greet some more people. Yeah, Lenin. Hi, Sharon. Sharon Grace is watching.
Hey, Sharon. Is this all Santo Tomas University Communication Arts episode?
Yeah. Auntie is watching. Yeah, James is watching. Brent is watching. Marie is watching also. Our
oh my gosh.
Michelle is watching. He is watching. Ben is watching. So, guys, if you do have any questions, just please type it in, and we're really still happy to answer a few before we move on to our next. And so, oh yeah. Earl, you have something coming up. Yan, mag-way muna tayo. You have something coming up, right? That's this month. Am I right? Can you tell us more about it?
Oh, yes. one of the things that I give my life to, Jen, is for transformation. We actually have what we call a woman's forum where we champion women to think things through, the longings of your heart and the integrity of your mind, so that you can walk in your call. Call meaning to say your purpose. And how do we do that? Is through cultural and biblical conversations. And this coming June 27th, Saturday, we have what we call a
Mm-hmm.
special edition. This is the first time we're actually doing it. I think a male, but just not any other male teacher, but of course the well esteemed, globally known is actually the famous international speaker. He is an author of 33 books right now, and also a
Uh-huh.
social critic. But he's more than anything, his topic is like a question that everybody should answer. Alam mo, medyo segue tayo, Jenny, ha?
Okay, it's okay.
Um,
It's okay.
kung
Alam mo naman,
mo,
I'm a woman
kapatid,
advocate. Eh. I've turned into a different
ay,
granny after, you know, a few years.
yeah, we all,
It's
yeah, you know,
again,
like,
it's another topic to discuss when we meet each other.
yes, free to call. You know, at some point, lahat tayo, babae man yan, lalaki man yan, you will ask questions like, sino ba talaga ako? Bakit, ano ba talaga ang saysay ng buhay ko? Bakit ako nandito? Like, what's my life for? And as a human being, as a person, kailangan mong masagot yan. Kasi you have to have that question answered. So that would give you your direction. Kasi ayaw mo naman na by the end of your life, you would say, have I missed life? Did I live life wrongly? So this particular conversation, we're talking about purpose, calling, meaning what are you born to do? So that's why it's so exciting, because you're hearing from the person who wrote the famous book, The Call. So lahat ng topic about calling is coming
Mhm.
from his book. Year-old man, you check him out, Os Guinness. Don't need to promote him because he himself, you know, it's such a gift. It's actually quite a unique experience and a rare moment in history for him to address a women's conference for the first time. And we are so blessed. I would use the word blessed, and we're so privileged to address the women in the Philippines, in the region, but of course, also women from across the globe. And walang tao na hindi matututo dito, kasi lahat tayo, gustuhin man natin, has to answer this question. Because a lot of people, actually, alam na nila itong kailangan nilang masagot, but they try to push it aside or pretend it's not there, and they just continue going through the notion of life. And by the end of their life, they feel like, what was it for? Have I wasted my life? And this is the opportunity to calling every woman who's listening right now to join us in that conversation. Not only that, it's very rare. We're really getting the author or the person who championed the conversation over generation. And he has shaped all cultural issues, theological issues. So well respected. You can do your research if it's worth your time, but yes, he is. And it's the first time he will be gracing a woman's forum. Don't miss this opportunity, and you would fall in love with this conversation. It would really direct you to the why of living. Why do you exist? What for? Right? Are you just a mother? Are you just a woman? Are you just a man? Are you just your work? So there's many things. At saka baka naman misguided ka. Sa akala mo, ito calling ko eh. Says who? For what? So ang daming mga, sa isang topic, marami lang masasagot sa buhay mo. So there.
Wow,
Existential
that's
questions.
very that's very exciting. You know, yeah, I'm really fond of watching all these topics, this kind of talk. So we'll see. Total, it's just
Register now
a
because
few
it's
more
time.
days away.
Yeah, register now because it's a limited slot. We're doing it in Zoom, and Zoom only has 500 capacity. And go,
Yeah.
Jen. And for sure, it can really. And he was one of the major people who really provided so much clarity to my call as well. So he's like a mentor to me.
That's great. That's really, really great. Okay. Moving on. I just have like one or two questions.
Sure.
Guys, once again, if you have any questions, just please type it in, and Earl will be happy to answer it. Your was it your daughter? Your eldest is a girl, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So she went from traditional school and then
Yes.
moved to homeschool. How did she take it on the first year?
Of
What
course,
were
her troubles. Every child, they will really miss their friends. See, more than anything, it's like I miss the school. No, they miss their friends. They said, "Mom, I
yes,
miss my friends." And of course, syempre, di ba, ingrained na kasi sa kanya, 3 taon na siya doon. So ingrained na sa kanya yung familiar na yung place, familiar na yung people. So she had a hard time at first um, separating. She thought na she will not see her friends. So sabi ko, friends will always be there. And if you have identified the friend more, build life. So I allow them to play still, to connect pa rin. So it's not new. Then after mga pa-ending na kami ng year, of course, dadaan kayong, I wanna go back, I don't like this. And then, Mom, I really like this. So kasama talaga yun. And how you're, and as a homeschooling mom, whether you are tech, whether you are touch, allow yourself to, it's not know what is about it, a learning curve as well. Because you will really be constantly baffled with, oh, I can't do this. Because you're dealing with your own insecurities and limitations, but those are just perception that you can shift. So yeah, there was a time like, Mom, I don't want to do this, but right now she's enjoying it. She will eventually go back when she goes to the higher years so that makapag-transition siya for university. But right now she's enjoying it kasi she still sees her friends that she developed over the years. She has her own time, and then my daughter is quite unique. She's quite gifted actually, so she can challenge herself to go more than what was not tradition to her.
parang mom
My
lang.
daughter, huh?
Parang
You're
yung
so
mom lang din.
You're so generous, Jenny. Yeah, and then, pero iba-iba yan ha. My daughter, yung isa naman, iba siya. She wanted like a very structured way. So I have to give it to her and allow them to. So do not worry na, I'm insecure about this. It's okay. Everybody's insecure to begin with anything. Anything you do that's new is always overwhelming. But like when you're a mom, Jenny, when you first became a mom, you didn't know how to be a mom, right? But
Exactly.
you embrace it, and as you go you learn, and then you had the confidence and you equip yourself, you grow, and everybody's growing. I'm learning a lot. There's so many things that I need to learn and also need to unlearn, so we're all in the same page. So no need to compare, okay? You don't need to compare of, oh, she's doing this, oh, she's doing this, oh my gosh, I don't have this. Mapapraning tayo doon. We don't do that, right? It's a unique experience to every family. It's a unique experience to every mom and child. Ang importante is, as you both learn, mother or child, son man yan, anak man yan, you're learning each other. That's where the bond is. Like, and you can fight together, argue, fight constructively, mean to say, she will know her authority na ikaw yon, she will understand, she will ask you questions that, I really love it. One thing I really love about homeschooling is my children can ask me all sorts of questions. Like parang ayong pakinggan, parang, but as a mother, like, I need to, okay, tell me about it. Why? Beginning with your sexual. Like,
why are you asking this question?
Yeah. Imagine my son, like, Mom, why? It doesn't make sense to me. Ganun ang mga 4-year-old do, mga 6-year-old. Ganun ang mga conversation namin. Why does it have to be like that? Why does it have to be this way? Why should I even obey you? May mga ganon. Yeah, why do we homeschool? What for? May mga ganon. And how come, and like this, kasi normal yun, di ba? Lalo na sa generation natin. It's either who's forming your child. One lesson I want you to take away. Who's forming your child? Is it the world through the social media and television? Or is it you and your values? You have to ask that. Or your neighbor. So you have to ask that. So my daughter, like, how come they're doing this and we're not allowed to do this? How come, mommy, this happened to me? How come I can't forgive my friend when she does? These are gold, right? These are things that you will not get
Yes.
if you're not constantly there. So sa akin, I'm already getting the benefit of homeschooling when my children are free to ask me all questions that they would even say, Mom, I don't think I will say this to you. I'm scared that you will get upset. But just try, mommy. So I have to compose myself not to get upset, right? So, but when you have that
Yeah.
culture of like speaking about things like, I'm having a hard time about this, you can talk about sexuality, you can talk about how to protect themselves, you can talk about dealing with friends. Kasi syempre, ang mga bata, if they're not loved, they will be so insecure and they just, so you as a mother, you're there. And you don't pretend that you have all the answers. But your commitment is I wanna be there for you. I wanna show you that I love you. So we'll both learn this together. That's the attitude. So if you have that attitude, you can go through the different curves of homeschooling. You'll never really get there. Don't think that you will get there. You will have some degree of confidence. You will have some degree of knowledge, like, oh, I know how to do this. But every year it changes. And
Yes,
every child is different.
nowadays, each child is different, and the kids nowadays are different. The very different from the way we think before. And unlearn, yung unlearn, yeah,
Oh, that's the challenge
to
for you,
accept,
right?
yeah, all changes, diba? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
with that,
before you
I'd
can,
like to
yes, Jenny. You were saying, Jen?
sorry, there's a bit of a delay because our technology nowadays and internet connection. So there, I think
It's okay.
some words are clashing. So I apologize for that. Yes, go ahead,
Mm.
Earl.
No, no, you were saying, yeah, it's a privilege for me to be here. It's really, yeah, it's a gift for me to be able to see you, to see John, to see
Yeah,
Mia, and
see you here.
everybody from 4B2. And I just love it. It's like Santo Tomas all again and media production all again. Yeah, we're all, maybe, sorry for everybody's listening, we're all classmates, especially in theses and doing television production. So it's like, this is what we do ever since in college, and we're in it
Yeah, it's like
again.
a
But
reunion.
again,
It's like a reunion in a short, in a short
yes,
span of
it's
time
like a
somehow.
reunion, yes. Thank you for having me, and I want to address those people. If you're considering homeschool, do not be do not be limited by your doubt. Like I always say this, and I think I've heard this once, that doubt people doubt because they have a lot of unanswered questions. So if you have a lot of questions about homeschooling, list all those downs and go to people that would give clarification, clarify it. Like, okay, what am I dealing with? What can I really do? And that's where you make a decision. So your decision is informed decision. And you can have also options. Should I go for this provider? Should I have this provider? And what track should I follow? What could I really commit based on what I can do? Could I hire a teacher that would help me teach my child because I can't really teach all the time? Alam mo yun, marami namang pwedeng gawin eh. Hindi lang siya one track.
Yeah.
But you will always be limited if you don't have all the things that you need to know and handle for you to move forward. The fact that you thought of homeschooling, meaning to say it's already there. So I'll move you an inch higher forward. Go. The homes provider. I'm going to recommend Homeschool Global because I'm there and I've been there for 3 years now. And there are other providers too. You can also check that. But more than anything, know why you're doing it. Because during harsh times or challenging times, I would say when you're tired, kasi ang buhay po hindi naman laging klaro all the time. Marriages fail, marriages are challenged, finances are challenged, health is challenged.
Yeah.
So it affects everybody, right? So when those things happen, you have to be reminded, why am I doing this again? And so that you can go back, and if you need to pause, you have your time. So if you have 200 days to homeschool, if you can make it longer, you can make it shorter, it's up to you. But more than anything is you and your children or child will be in it together. And don't be worried about, oh mom, I can't do this, or mom, especially lahat ng issues ng nanay at mga anak, lalabas yan dyan. So it's not just your daughter or son is growing, also you are growing, because you have to deal with your own thing. But the intention is you're going to the same direction. So you have to know, where are you going? So first ask your question, where are you? Are you going to go back to the traditional homeschool? Are you going to go back to homeschool, and through which provider? And why are you doing that? This is very practical, step by step. And why am I doing this? So that this will direct me to where do I want to be? Because if you're clear on those aspects, then kahit may mga bumps on the road, you can always evaluate, change, but you keep the core. In business, right? Jim Collins said this, that from good to great. Keep the core, but always innovate. And that's homeschooling too. Like, you learn, you grow, you mature, another child comes, it's different season. Sino bang may alam na magkakaroon ng COVID, right? Right? All my MAPI classes are online now. I continue doing that, but we need to adapt. But the core remains, meaning your value are the same. So it's time for you to evaluate, do you have your values? Where do you anchor it? Is it in shifting sand, or is it in truth that's absolute? So ask yourself those questions, and see us at Women's Forum. You will find out, and there's a lot of conversations about those things. So Jenny, I think I talked too much, but I enjoyed this time together.
Yeah. We would love to see you once again, probably on the next topic. Have time if you are not so busy. I'd like to really, really thank you for being here and for sharing all those ideas, all your thoughts on homeschooling with us. Actually, not only on homeschooling, but on other aspects as well. I really, really love that. And thank you for also being an inspiration to us doing. I love
Thank you,
you, and I hope to
Jenny.
see you soon.
Yeah. Yes, I love you too. And thank you for everybody who's watching. I'm not busy. I have a lot of commitments, yes. And if I will commit to this, I will say yes to this. So, like I said, education and equipping is my commitment. So it's alignment with my commitment and my value. And I shall be there if given the opportunity. Thank you. It's a gift to be here. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope to see you again. So, yes. Warm gratitude to everyone. Enjoy your Sunday, and see you again whenever I'm invited, or if I'm not
Yes.
invited. But
Happy
yes,
Sunday,
thank
Earl. Thank you so much. Take care. Judah. There was one question I forgot to ask. Was Judah also doing
Okay.
homeschooling? Was he
Before,
also helping
yes,
you
he
with it?
does. Yes. I assign one subject to him. I assign, because he's also doing, meaning to say, he's also moving forward with his education in theology. So he's also in school, right? And but he takes one subject, and that's Bible and character. So I give it to him so that's his
All
time with the
right.
children. Yes.
And give my regards. Thank you so much. He's so supportive. Yeah. See, it's
Yeah.
random thoughts. I'm becoming so forgetful, and suddenly I remembered just before you leave.
It's okay. Bye, Jen. Bye, everyone. Have a blessed and enjoy your Sunday.
You take care. All right. Thank you so much to Earl. That was so inspiring. Actually, she talked about not just about homeschooling, but for us to find out why are we going to change our way of teaching. Why are we going to homeschooling, right? So she spoke about value. what what's our where do we want our kids going? Why are we doing all this? So those are the essential questions that we need to ask ourselves later. Not just a fad. Everybody's going for homeschooling. Let's do homeschooling. It's not just like that. And I think most parents are really having a lot of thoughts, a lot of things, thinking, having so many questions before they jump into this, because we see that education is very important, especially for our children, because dun nakarely ang kanila. So as Earl said, there are resources around. So she chose Homeschool Global as her provider, and with that provided introduction, and they provided trainings to all parents. Yeah. So I do believe that should apply to all other providers, but you guys can also do some research and find that out. Yeah. We're shifting to online classes, I believe, yung what was mentioned by Deb earlier. So yeah, I leave it up to you guys to evaluate yourselves if you think homeschooling is for you, and all these questions you have in mind. Try to see, with all the. I hope that it also helped our part 1 episode and this part 2 episode as well. And now we've heard from two moms on our part 1, and Earl now for part 2. Our part 3, this is something different because we do not have a mom to talk about homeschooling. We have a child, a student. You know, I am very thankful to Pia for allowing Ethan to join me this afternoon and talk us through his experience as a homeschooler. So let me check. Ethan! Hi, Ethan. How are you? Oh, Ethan, can you wear your headset? Yeah. Yes.
Hi.
There.
Yeah.
Perfect. We can hear you well. So, guys,
All
Ethan
right.
is Tia's son. Ayan.
Yep.
So, I know when those of you watched part 1 on homeschooling, he mentioned Ethan in a way and how he's doing. He's part of the debating team and all that. So that's the reason why I thought that Ethan might be a good example as a homeschooler. And I know Ethan, has also been into a traditional school
Yeah.
and homeschool as well.
hmm
First and foremost, how are you, Ethan?
I'm good, Tita Jenny. Thanks for asking and thanks for having me on here. It's great.
See?
A lot of people have been asking questions about homeschooling, and it's really nice to have someone put this out there on their platform.
Oh, really nice to have you here. You
Thank you.
speak well and everything. I'm just so happy and I'm just excited what you're gonna share with us this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm
How old are
excited to
you,
share
Ethan?
too. Yeah. I'm 15, turning 16 this year.
Right. So, when I know Pia did, you went to homeschool, then traditional school, then to homeschool again. Which
hmm
level were you in traditional school, and which grade level were you homeschooled?
Well, for most of like the kinder and preschool, I was in regular school. And then when we got to grade 1, I did homeschooling for the first time. And then we jumped to regular school, OB Montessori in grade 2, and then back to homeschooling for grades 3 and 4. And for 5 and 6, we went to a regular school. And then ever since after that, we've been doing homeschool. for grade 7, 8, and 9.
Your voice. I love to hear you. Yeah. Okay. How was your you well I guess in preschool you were in tradition much is there much difference? I know you're still very young then grade one young pa din naman.
Mhm.
How did that made you feel na nung after sometime biglang homeschool ka na?
Um, for me, there wasn't much of a difference, or at least I think my mom and dad eased me into it in such a way where I wasn't shocked by all the change that surrounded me. My mom
Mhm.
introduced homeschooling really well, explained everything thoroughly, and we had a structure to begin with. So for me, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, I'm being homeschooled. What is this? Is this like a punishment, or what is this new thing? Am I still going to be able to do this or that? I wasn't clueless, so I think that's why we went into homeschooling, it was for me not so different. It wasn't so like it didn't change everything that I already knew. Like my mom was there to support me in the first year and the following years. They were really like she has a background as a teacher, so I was also confident in the fact that my mom would be able to teach me everything during the first few grade levels. Yeah.
Kudos to mommy.
Yeah.
So, grade 3 and 4, am I right? That's when you went back
Yeah.
to traditional school. Now, from homeschool to traditional school naman, meron bang changes nung pagpasok mo ba after sa
um
homeschool? Or
for the first few days, there's parang this feel na naninibago, wherein you're with new people, you're with different personalities again, different teachers. It's not my mom anymore, so I guess there is a bit of adjustment that has to happen, but again, not something too big that affected the way I was responding to it, or at the very least, I wasn't affected by the things happening as much as I thought I would be. Like I thought I'd
Mhm,
be somewhat introverted, but no, actually, my personality was very outgoing after homeschooling. Mostly because even during the time I was homeschooled, I think my mom was able to put me into co-ops, able to put me into different activities where I'd still be able to socialize. So I guess what happened was when I was in homeschooling, none of my socialization was affected. None of my social skills were hindered. So when I got into regular or
mhm.
conventional schooling again, there wasn't much of a shift that needed to happen.
Okay, so in the socialization aspect, there's not really much difference. Is there is
Hmm.
there uh, is there any difference with the teaching? If parang, di ba, it's a different thing. There might be strict rules na in the school, and like when you're at home, medyo it's
Yeah.
it's your mom, di ba? But with school, you have to do this, you have to do that. How did that make you feel?
Um, it was it wasn't too different. Again, it there was not much of a need to shift or adjust too much there because when I was in
Mhm.
homeschool, again, my mom had a really neat structure to begin with. We had the books, we had worksheets, we had assignments, and every day we would be able to cover the competencies, and we would be able to finish the curriculum given to us by DepEd. So when I went back to regular school where the teachers were less loose on the rules. They were really strict with deadlines and all. Uh, there was a bit again, like one first week or the first 2 weeks of things. I'm like, I have to get used to the things around me. But other than that, I think there was nothing in me that got shaken up by homeschool and the sudden change between the systems of education.
That's good. That's good to hear. Um, if you were to choose uh, between going to a traditional school and being homeschooled, would you still rather be homeschooled or going back to traditional school, and why?
Okay, so this is a rather controversial answer because
Yes, yes, yes.
because I'm
I
I'm
know
happy being
controversial question
homeschooled.
din.
Yeah, I'm really happy being homeschooled. I'm really happy with the opportunities it has given me. But now, if you were to ask me, would you rather be in homeschool or be in a conventional school again? I would much rather go back to traditional because I really do miss a lot of my friends who when I would ask them, for example, to hang out with me, they wouldn't have much time to spare because they were really busy with schoolwork. And I wasn't, I'm very loose with the structure here at home. So, yun lang, nahihirapan ako with being able to hang out with my old friends and also being able to schedule hangouts with, uh, hangouts with them, being able to talk to them pa rin. Again, they're really, really busy. So, yeah, I think for mostly just the social part, I would go back to traditional school.
That's great. I mean, it's. I think it's just normal, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Kasi 'di ba if you are in a traditional school, you get to see them, you get to, joke with them because you're in a class,
yeah.
or when you're probably on your lunch break. So may
Mhm.
mga ganong atmosphere. Although you were all probably all busy, pero at least
Yeah.
somehow you get to see it. I
Mhm.
do understand. Yeah. Even so, what were your I know in your mom you talked about us na you also have your PE classes. What are the things you enjoy about homeschooling?
Oh, well, all right. So I think I enjoy a few things. So I'll try to summarize it. Uh,
Yeah.
Now, more often than not, and I believe people who are also homeschooled would agree that in if you've ever been to a regular school, the learning that happens inside school or those conventional schools usually restricted siya by the four walls of the classroom. So for the most part of the day, you're glued to your seat, you're listening to a lecture. But in homeschooling, what's really different is you go beyond those four walls. Your environment, your surroundings become your classroom. So that's, I think, one particular thing I'm able to enjoy and make the most out of. Like I could be at a coffee shop at a mall, and that could be my classroom for the day. I'm able to transform any place, anytime. The to be. This is where I'm gonna learn today. This is where I'm gonna do my work. This is where I'm gonna submit things, and that's one thing I really do enjoy. And another thing I enjoy a lot about homeschooling is how the learning is very interest driven. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the term interest driven, I think it's something big to take away from homeschooling, where a lot of the things you're able to take on can be focused on your passions or your interest as a student, as a homeschooled student. You're given the opportunity to explore those, to deepen your understanding, and those things could develop soon into your talent, something you could use as life skills. And I think that's another thing I really do enjoy.
Oh, great, great. Since we've talked about the things that you enjoy, there's a good side and a bad side. What are the things that you
Yeah.
don't enjoy or you don't like about homeschooling? It's all
Okay,
right,
again,
no
very
holds barred.
controversial.
You can tell everything.
Very controversial because my mom and dad are watching the stream, so I've got to keep
It's okay.
it.
Don't, mom, dad, please,
Sorry,
please go
mom.
somewhere
Sorry,
else
dad.
first.
So I
Okay.
think what I don't like about homeschooling revolves primarily on how sometimes the lack of a structure or the lack of a very formal structure can affect it. Because my mom and dad are not very strict with the schedule. For the past 3 years, they're really loose on how I manage my time. And I think being given so much freedom, there were times where I would tend to abuse it. Like I would spend more of my time playing instead of studying, and I would end up cramming, having to cram for deadlines. And I think that's one really bad thing that I didn't like about homeschooling. The fact that it gives you sometimes the homeschooling has the ability to give you too much freedom. Too much of anything can be bad. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Mom, dad, you're giving you're giving Ethan, too much freedom. But no, I mean, but that's really good to say. I mean, coming from you, because you know already what you have to do exactly, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
in some way, Ethan, I think your parents are giving you the liberty
Mhm.
to manage your own,
Yeah, I think that's
right?
what they're trying to teach. Yeah.
Yes. And somehow that's a good thing because you make it your own way, and mom and dad wouldn't have to tell you stop doing that, go and finish your thing, because
Mhm.
you have all the freedom, you can finish it, you can. It's like self-discipline, isn't it, Ethan?
Yeah.
I love you, Ethan. Okay. Okay, so guys, if you do have any questions, just please type it in. We're very lucky to have Ethan on board and share his own experience as a homeschooler. Ethan, just allow me to greet a few people who just came on
Mhm.
board and listening to us. Hi, King. Hi, Benedict. Hi, Attorney. Ruby. Mishu. Hello. Red. Hello. Gail. Hello. Elson. Hello. Yeah. All right. So much, guys, for being here. Yeah. Okay, Ethan. What were I know moms that at an early age you were already studying robotics, programming, and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And I believe for the school at a certain grade level, those topics or those subject areas are not uh, integrated.
Mhm.
So among those things, what have you discovered? What have you discovered? Like it's like a journey, right? You try this, you
Mhm.
try that, you try one, two, three, four, five. What have you discovered now? What is it that you like to do?
Oh,
Now that you
well,
are 15, like in a few, what grade level are you now?
I'm incoming grade 10.
Becoming grade 10. So soon, when you'll choose a strand, right? I don't know
Yes.
how it goes with homeschooling as well, but what have you discovered? What are you up to? What are you thinking that you might be interested to pursue as a strand when you go to senior high, or probably you might have something in mind already to study in college.
I actually do. So over time in homeschooling, we've been able to cover many things, whether it's debating or computer programming. A lot of those things, when they were introduced to me, at first inaayawan ko siya, but as I learned them, I also learned about myself because I before I didn't know that I could speak in front of an audience, and I didn't know I could debate topics, and at the same time, when I first started learning programming, I didn't know that I was capable of doing any of the complicated things that you see on the screen. And on that journey of self-discovery and learning those topics, I was also able to learn that, hey, this could be my career. This could be what I do for a living when I grow older. So for example, when I did debating, a lot of my coaches would say you have the potential to become a lawyer, or you can be a speaker, a motivational speaker. uh, and I was like, that's a possibility, right? I could take that. I could, do everything right now so that it's directed towards that career path. And at the same time, I've also had people tell me, "Oh, you're good at computer programming. You can do that." And that also starts to mix in my head. I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, I can also do that for in the future." And with all of these things combined, as of right now, I'm still in this, like, I'm stuck in between all these choices, and I'm still giving myself time to learn and explore so that when I'm finally given the opportunity to make that choice, I'm going to be sure with my answer. So yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's good to know. Um, I know your mom mentioned to me that now she doesn't supervise you a lot with your studies anymore. It's like you know already, you have the system. So when did this start? At which age did it start that mom does not supervise you anymore? You are doing it on your own. Like early morning, you wake up, you already have your schedule.
Actually, this sort of independence that she gives me, the sense of independence that she gives me, uh, dating dati pa siya, as far as I can remember when I was a kid, she would always leave responsibilities to me or entrust those responsibilities to me and for me to accomplish them. I do remember, like, at grade 3 and 4, my mom would leave me a list of things to do while she was out, and I would have to accomplish them by the time she'd get home. But this really came into play at grade 7. That's when I noticed my mom was really lenient on things, and she really expected me to be independent and uh, and be non-reliant on her for resources, for things that I need, because there's internet now, there's Google, there's YouTube, there's Khan, there's all these resources that I should be using, instead of having to rely on my mom to have to answer all those questions for me. So yeah, I think grade 7 was when this really all started to come into place, the independence that she's giving me.
I salute your mom for for raising you like that. I can see you're very, you communicate well, and I think when you said that a lot of people say that you are good in debating and you could be a lawyer, you could be a motivational speaker. I agree with them. I totally agree with them. Yeah, so guys, you can see, Ethan is a product of homeschool and a little bit of traditional school. Look at him. Well, thank you so much for gracing this show and showing everyone how to say, if there is an unforgettable experience in your homeschooling journey, what is that thing? If
Oh
as far as you
boy,
can remember,
ang
a lot.
dami though. Yeah, there's definitely a
Well,
lot,
yeah,
especially in
you
the
can
past
you can
year.
share you can share a few.
I'll limit it up to two lang. I think one of the most memorable experiences was when I joined the Youth Innovation Championship, which was held by a school, I believe from Quezon or Pasig. We all had to go to the PICC, the Philippine International Convention Center. I think that's what it's called. And
Yes, yes, yes.
they gave us these challenges where we had to innovate. And I was able to win an award for being able to create one of the most innovative, um, what do you call these? Innovative, because we were tasked to make like an app or to make a software or a website or like a small business that aims to fulfill a certain obligation or a certain need, right? And since we were able to do that best, our group was able to do it best. I was able to bring home that win, and I was the only homeschooler at the time who was able
Wow.
to bring it home. So it was a really big moment, and that was the very first time that a homeschooler was able to pick something up from something like that, I believe. So yeah, and another thing is the
Wow.
PSDC, the Philippine Schools Debate Championship. It's this really big debate championship held at ADMU, Ateneo de Manila, where all schools from different regions of the Philippines would come together and debate. And we didn't win or we didn't break into the finals, but it was a really big and memorable experience for me because I'm going up against the senior highs. I'm going up against people from my old school, from LaSalle,
Uh-huh.
my classmates, my batchmates. And it was really nice to see how, despite the fact that I was homeschooled, I'm able to level with these people. I'm able to put up a fight. And I think that's another of my most memorable experiences in homeschooling.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, I can only say, guys. I'm just amazed by Ethan.
Thank
All
you.
right. Uh, if you were to give a few words to those who's might thinking of putting them in school, well, might be a lot of things in there. Yeah, as you said, part of the things that you why you would want to go back to traditional schools, they might be missing their friends, um, time. But
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, everything is all good. There might be a lot of things in their head, like, oh, might be boring because it's only mom. I don't have classmates. Yeah, because I don't know what's in a kid's mind when you say I'm going to. You will be shifted from a traditional
Yeah,
school to a homeschool, right? But I don't
yeah,
know. Do they feel scared or what? Right?
yeah.
Um, what's the sort of piece of advice you would want to tell those kids?
All right. So I've got a few friends who are already thinking, whose parents are already thinking of putting them into homeschool for this year. And I see a common denominator between all of them. They're really they seem to be really afraid to go into homeschooling, or not afraid, but they seem to resent homeschooling because they think that they're not going to be able to socialize with their friends anymore, and that it's being taken away from them, that part of school. And I think one thing that I'm going to tell all of my friends, or all of the people out there, all of the teenagers or children who think that that's going to happen to them, or who think that homeschooling is a negative thing. I think, well, personally, first of all, I believe homeschooling isn't for everyone. It may work for me, but it may not work for you. But if you're forced or put into this situation where there's COVID-19 and you can't enroll into a certain school that you want to be in, I think a good way of doing this all is first coming to terms with how this is all gonna go, and then another thing is I'm gonna tell you is to reach out to your parents, talk it out with them. You know, how is this going to work? Because once you're able to communicate with your parents and settle all the issues or the things in your head, I think that would really give you peace of mind going into homeschooling, which you really do need. Because if you start homeschooling with a negative perspective already on it, it's likely that the rest of your year will be built, or that'll be the foundation of your education. You'll resent it. You know, you won't like it when you're doing work. You're gonna be like, oh, this is homeschooling. I don't want to do this. So why even try, right? So I think you should really talk this through with your parents. And if you have friends who are homeschooled, feel free to reach out to them too. You know, a lot of my friends have been asking me questions about homeschooling, and I do my best to answer them. So if you've got friends who are homeschooled or have been homeschooled, reach out to them, talk to them. If you've got questions, ask it. Because these questions, I think the people who can answer them best are, one, your parents, and two, the people who have been homeschooled. So if you want peace of mind going into this, I would really suggest doing that.
Wow, what a great advice, Ethan. Ethan, I do agree with you. The best thing to do is communicate. Communicate with your
Yeah.
parents how you did, right?
Hmm.
And also, what I for the parents, I do believe that we should also listen to our kids. We should
Yes.
also, yeah, right. We should also listen how they are feeling. What are
Hmm.
their thoughts about it? What are they afraid of? Yeah, because yeah, it's only in communication that we are able to resolve something, right?
Yes.
So, because sometimes we as parents also, you know, we have sometimes difficulty listening, right? Especially if we have already made our decision. But yeah, for parents like myself, yeah, I do feel for our kids we should also listen to them because
Hmm.
we a lot from them.
Yes.
Because as you said, Ethan, it may be working for you, but it may not be working for others.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we do have a question from Mark. Uh, oops, sorry. All right. So Mark's question is, what's the biggest challenge of being schooler?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. So sorry. We'd like to say hello to Mark. Yeah, I just read his question. His question is, what is the biggest challenge of being a homeschooler?
Biggest challenge. All right. Let me think. I think the biggest challenge would be how limited sometimes uh, your resources can be with regards to a certain subject. Because there are times where the book doesn't give me the answer I need, or even the internet, it doesn't give me the exact answer I'm looking for. So the student is really forced uh, to research more, to try really hard to find that answer, to use all the resources around them to be able to make up an answer. And I do think that's one of the biggest challenges. I think another big challenge would be coping with sometimes the lack of socialization, because as you know, you don't really have classmates here, and it's not too often that you would have homeschool co-ops or opportunities to socialize with other homeschoolers. But I think all of these challenges or all of these things can be resolved if you take the proper approach. Like for example, with the problems I had with research, um,
Mm-hmm.
if I really didn't know the answer, I go to my mom and dad, or if not them, I would call, for example, my grandparents who my lola is a Filipino teacher. So for Filipino, when I'm not getting the answer that I need from my mom or from the internet, I call her. I
Uh-huh.
really have to be resourceful with the things around me. So yeah, and for the socialization, I talk it out with my mom. I'm telling her, for example, Mom, I want to do this more because I'm not meeting up with my friends often. I communicate with her and tell her we need to get this resolved so that we can work better together. And so yeah, those challenges are resolved by so many different solutions. And I think if you've really got a lot of questions and a lot of things in your head about homeschooling and the challenges that it comes along with, um, I really do think you should start to reach out and also watch different forums, go on different groups, because there are a lot of people right now who are
Mhm.
doing this kind of thing where they would do streams or they would do videos answering questions. Like my mom is doing the same thing. And I think you guys should really look into that if you want to know more about the challenges we face as homeschoolers, as a parent and as a student. So, yeah.
You know, your mom said that, you have your PE classes, right? So
Yes.
in my head, you do have a bit of socialization already, especially like
Hmm.
when you have your swimming classes, except for if it's one-on-one, right? Or if
Hmm.
you are if you have football
Yeah.
as a class, so there will be socialization in there already. Well, as a
Yes.
child, you feel that that's not enough, right? That's how I
There
picture
are
it
times.
because
Yeah, there are times.
yeah, I'm telling my observation that might be that's why I want to hear it from you. Is it something like because you have specific set of friends and that's what you want, that those are the people you want to bond with? Because in my head I was just thinking, oh, my kids will have socialization anyway because like most of the parents said they're co-ops, and also
Yeah.
um, there are also PE classes wherein they can socialize with other kids. So
Yeah.
it's just me, but that is
No,
me
it's
thinking. But with you as a child, and you experiencing it, but sometimes is it not enough? Something like that. I want an
sometimes it
answer,
isn't.
an honest answer. It's okay. No holds bar.
Yeah, super honest though. So I like what you said about how sometimes the child has this parang certain set of friends na gusto niyang samahan. I really do resonate with
Yeah.
that. I really do get that because I have friends as well who I still really miss. and who I still really want to be with and hang out with. So again, that goes back to my answer. Diba? I wanted to go back to a traditional school,
Yes,
but I think if you're really put into a situation like this, my best what I came to do was I came to terms with it. Like I told myself, it is what it is. I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to face it. And that's the attitude that I think homeschooling has helped me develop as well. Because there are really times where I really wasn't able to hang out with these people, where I wasn't able to get what I wanted out of homeschooling. And I understood why it didn't happen. I think I had to process myself through the problem first, and I had to tell myself, well, if that's really it and there's really no work around, then it is what it is. I really have to accept it, come to terms with the circumstances, and find alternatives. Yun naman. So after you find the problem, you start looking for alternative solutions. So if I couldn't hang out with these set of friends, I make new ones. There's online friends now. I've got so many of those. There's friends in homeschooling co-ops. If you don't like the people from homeschooling co-ops, you can also go for mutuals. Like I ask my other friends to introduce me to others. I'm a very extroverted and outgoing person. So I tell them, "Oh, can you introduce me to your friends from this other school? Or can you introduce me to this guy and this girl?" So yeah, I network. I try to make the most out of what I have. So yun.
that's good. That's good, Ethan. I just asked because I wanted to really understand because
Mm.
sometimes we as parents we just think this way, that way. Oh, this could be an option. This can be that. But in reality, that's not how our kids feel inside. So that's the reason why. That's the reason why I. All right, guys. If you do have any questions for Ethan, just type it in. Maybe I can see you looking at your mom. Hi, Pia.
Yeah. She's watching
Okay,
it.
you want to comment?
She's inside the room now.
All right. Probably watching as well. That's okay. All right. What else? I think I've asked um most of the questions in my head. I'm leaving it up to
There she is.
our viewers to ask the questions. Hi, Pia.
Oh, here you go. Earphone.
Hi!
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Scar.
Yeah, Ethan is just so adorable. He's and he's very mature in the way he talks. I
Oh,
was just a
Thank
thank
bit
you.
you.
conscious if you were watching earlier, but,
I'm used to
but
getting
that's
shocked.
okay.
Oh.
I'm used to
You're
this.
used to getting
One.
shocked. Wow.
Yes,
You raised,
yes.
yeah, I believe you've raised him well, and he's very much confident in you with all the things that you've taught him. So I'd like to thank you for that. You've raised a wonderful
Thank you. Thank you for appreciating that. I think
yeah. Yeah, and
I got used to the I don't know, he's so straightforward even with me. That issue with
I like
homeschooling has
it.
been there for quite some time. It's always been there, the friends. Sabi ko nga, if only I can buy friends, I will buy him friends. I will bring all the friends here at home because that's the only thing that actually he misses. So there was a time I even asked him, if it's is it about learning? No, it's not about learning. It's just about friends. My goodness, it's just
Yeah.
about friends.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
goodness.
Okay lang ko homeschool eh. I can learn here, I can learn there. I just need my friends.
So weird.
But
Anyway,
I understand because Ethan just did mention that he's an expert, right?
yes,
So
yes,
he really likes to network and be with friends. I
yes,
don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think it also goes with different personalities, diba, of the child.
yes,
Some kids,
yes,
it's okay with them if they don't much and
yes,
meet with little
yes.
friends. So, but doing
Yes,
well,
that's
he's
also very
coping
true.
well.
Yeah, I think also he mentioned a while ago that it's not for everybody. That's also one when
Yes.
people ask us. I always say, even in my Facebook post, I always say that homeschooling may or may not work for other families. It really depends on the lifestyle of the family, how you're going to cope with it, the parents, the children, how are they going to take it. It really depends on that. And I always say to him, you know what, this at this point in your life, if you find friends at this point in your life and you're able to keep them until you grow older, then these are real friends. So that's also something that you have to learn, because I'm pretty sure he was able to connect with the friends he had from preschool who are still friends right now. So I'm just thinking like, okay, if you meet friends right now and you get to keep them, those are the real ones. Those are the for kids na friends, parang ganon. Yes. And it's an opportunity, it's a privilege for parents to be able to homeschool. But I guess I don't know if Earl was able to mention that a while ago. That's not for everybody. It's something that you really have to ask yourself first. Yourself, you have to have the heart for it before you're able to do it. And if you're not into it, and I guess Ethan also mentioned that to like with his friends, like if you have any issues with homeschooling, you have to address it first, because the whole year you're gonna be resenting it, and
Yeah.
resenting it won't bring you anywhere. Learning will never happen if there are negative connotations about homeschooling.
Hmm.
Yeah, true. It's very very well said naman from Ethan. It's not for everyone, but yeah, the first thing is to figure it out. Um, well, the
Hmm.
parents itself first to figure it out themselves kung they are ready to do it and clear out the
Yeah,
questions in their head. What's the
yeah,
purpose of this? Why they are doing it? Yeah.
yes,
Um, I although I do agree na everyone is moving to online, but online classes is a bit different from um. But yeah, we will see.
yes,
But I
yes,
hope
yes,
that we are able to help our viewers hear your thoughts and actually Pia Earl's journey as well as Ethan's. At least now they can hear from someone who's homeschooled himself how it
yes,
feels.
yes.
And Ethan
Who's
was
been home?
very honest. Yeah, Ethan was very honest to say that if his boys would want to go back to traditional school only because of the socialization part, because he wants to be with his friends. But
Sorry,
other
mom.
than that, he's okay with homeschool.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
So other than debating, are you still actively joining like swimming competitions? I know the last time you had posted something like that. That
Um,
he's joining competition, swimming competition.
I haven't trained in about 3 or 4 months. Yeah, the
Yeah.
pandemic came along, ruined my summer, and I was like, oh, I can't swim anymore. They closed down the pool here, so I can't really do trainings with my coaches anymore, especially with the social distancing things in place. And I don't think they're planning to hold any competitions anytime soon.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, but when this ECQ is finally lifted and when COVID is finally resolved, I do plan to go back into that scene of things, joining competitions and enhancing my skill in swimming, just as I want to do that in debating.
I can see Ethan is very what do you call it? He's a learning enthusiast. And do you
Yes.
consider yourself as a very competitive person?
Yes, too many people tell me
Yes.
that. Like when I play games, kahit like a board game or a party game, they're like, "You're too competitive, Ethan. You've got to stop. You've got to let us get something. You can't keep taking the prize out of there."
Yeah, I think you have to know also if you have a child who's, let's say, for example, gifted or very competitive, especially if it's a male. I'm not saying that girls are not competitive. I'm just saying that I see it more with the male, with the boys, with the teens. So if your son or your child is very competitive, I think you really have to do something about it also when you're homeschooling. Because with homeschool, we really try to focus on character formation and not on the grades. Um, so I guess on that level, I guess baka kaya niya nami-miss eh. It's because of the fact that in homeschool, kasi I always say, do not compete with anybody.
Oh, and yeah,
Compete with yourself. But even it's very,
Yeah.
very competitive.
I
There was a swim competition one time, and then Erin and Ethan, they're both part of that swim competition. So I was just telling Erin, like, Erin, all you needed to do is just to cross the pool. I don't need you to win. I just want you to do your best and just cross the pool. And no, he said, Mom, don't say that to Erin. Tell her to win. She came here to win. We didn't join the competition not to win. And I was like, oh
It's
my
like his
God.
mindset, right?
yeah.
But
But
that's a
but
good
I do
thing.
love and agree with what she said. Like if your child is competitive and came from a regular school, for example, you really have to address it. You've got to give the child then outlets where he or she can show that competitiveness. Because then it's just left there. It's like a gift that's not being opened. And and I did also forget to mention that I that's also one reason I want to go back to traditional school. I love competing with other students. It's just the best, you know? And kasi here, this the
Oh.
only ranking we got. I'm the top one in my batch here at home, you know, because I'm the only student. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that what happens no when you come really from a regular school. Kasi talagang na yung na-instill sa kanila is you're here for I don't know. I really feel that way. Because if not, then why bakit may honor lists? Bakit may first, second, third, fourth honors? I mean, come on. Bakit may top 20 of the batch, but may top 10?
Yeah.
Talagang na-instill sa kanila na supposedly it was a reward. And there's nothing really wrong with rewarding children when they're really doing so well. And in terms of that, I will always have to acknowledge this is really good. Better than me, actually. Better than me. So I do acknowledge that. It's what I always say to him that, the real world, it's not really like you don't go out there just to be able to compete to other people. It's not like that. You really dapat ang na-instill mo talaga is mag-compete ka with the sarili mo. But then, one time I went to
Yeah.
a co-op group of homeschoolers, and they told me that, your son is very, very normal. Don't panic, mommy. It's normal. Number one, he's a teenager. Number two, he's a boy. And number three, that's his personality. He has always been like that. He's very outgoing. He's an extroverted person, and also is very. Actually, he wasn't really that competitive nung nag-homeschool kami. When he went to a big school, that's when the competitiveness really parang hit at one point, because that was the time that he suddenly discovered that he is actually really good. Because in homeschool, I just acknowledge na, oh, you did so well with this and this and this. Pero hindi ko pinapakita sa kanya, oh, yung grade mo 95 or yung grade mo ganyan. No, but of course when he came back to a regular school, we never knew kids were ranked. They were being
yeah,
ranked.
they gave us rankings in the batch. For example, there were 200 students in the batch at every
Yes.
end of the term and at the end of the school year. They would release these rankings and tell you where you placed.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. I think, and we were so surprised actually when we received that news that there was a ranking, and nobody sees that though. The only the parents can see, and of course the child can see that. But it really was shocking for a parent to see, especially probably when your child is like, okay, if there are 286 students and your child is 286, that would really break my heart. It's just that, like, when I saw the ranking, I was like, oh my gosh, you out of all, because you were homeschooled, and he was so chill. He would go home from school, and I would say, what did you do in school today? Oh, we just did this and that.
yeah, and I would come home with no homework to do, and all my
Yeah.
friends would be like, "Oh, I'm still doing the homework. What are you doing? Oh, I'm watching YouTube. Why are you watching YouTube? Because I did my homework on the
Yeah,
bus or
it's
at
already
school."
done. It's already done. And then panicking in the Viber group, and I would say, Ethan, what is wrong?
I
Why is
don't know,
there
mom. I'm already done with
it's
that.
already done? I guess that was the one so good about the homeschool. He was so independent because he can actually do things on his own
Yeah.
without being told to do.
Yeah,
Like, what's the next step? Wala siyang
Yeah.
ganun eh. Alam na niya what to do. And yeah, we were so surprised with the ranking because, like, to the first term, he was already part of
top 20.
the top 20, but it was like 5%
Yeah,
of the
top
top
13 at 13.
5% of the batch.
Yeah.
Parang ganon. I mean, and for someone who doesn't even, you know, I don't see him study. I don't see him do
Yeah.
anything.
I
And he
think
was just
I
saying,
think he has Yeah, I think he's learned to manage his time already. That's why when he was saying his classmates are not yet done with their assignment, their homework, he's already done it at school
Yes,
because he knows how to manage his time, right? And
yes,
Yeah.
I think
yes,
that's
yes.
very important.
I think that's also an observation of the teacher. When he came back to a regular school, I talked to the advisor, and then she told me that Ethan is always one of those people who, if not always the first, who would finish when there's an exercise or a worksheet to be done, a seat work, he's always done. And he would ask, like, teacher, may I do something else because I'm already done? And I remember he would tell me before, like, some of my classmates, 30 minutes have passed and they don't know what to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, why? I don't know, maybe they're trying to find an instruction, like, okay, what's gonna be next? What's gonna happen
Yeah,
next?
I really do think homeschooling was able to teach me a lot of life skills, from time management to resourcefulness and independence, to things like being able to make the most of what you've got, like knowing how to socialize or knowing how to do certain things when you're very limited on resource. So yeah, and I was able to bring that into regular school. And funny story though, a lot of the teachers, there was a teacher of mine, my class advisor, I believe, from grade 5 in regular school, who asked what school I came from and was really shocked to
Mhm.
find out I was homeschooled. And the day after, all the other teachers were asking me about homeschooling. So I guess that advisor spread to the others that I was homeschooled, and they would ask many questions. And even in grade 6, it happened. And what was really unique was I managed to get, or I don't know if inspire is the right word, but one of my teachers, instead of enrolling her child into LaSalle again, who decided to homeschool the child. And she reached out to my mom, and what was it she said?
I, yeah, she's just so happy to tell me that she's already homeschooling.
Yeah.
Like that she finally met me. Like she told me, like, oh, Mrs. Lopez, I finally met you, even if it was on the phone. And I just have to tell you, like, so many good words about my son. And then she said, like, I'm homeschooling now. That I'm already homeschooling my son. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
That's amazing, right? Well,
Yeah.
it only means that Ethan, you have inspired them
Yes.
in
Yes.
many ways to go and try homeschooling.
Yeah. And
That's
I
what
hope we can do the
I said
same
though.
for the people now.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's just check if anyone has any questions.
All right.
Yeah, ngayon my mom is here na eh. Yeah,
No,
so.
you answer the question because you are the
Kanina parang ang tipid lang nung answer ni Ethan eh. We have to.
Yeah,
Hindi siya ganyan. Hindi siya ganyan. Sobra yan sa
Uh,
salita. Nauubos ang oras namin sa kwentuhan. Utang
can
na
keep
loob.
going, you know.
Yeah. He's always like, he keeps it
you know what?
going.
I mean, it's okay. It's good because actually you're sharing your own experience. I mean, there's no right or wrong answers naman. Um, at least people will hear it. Ah, ganito pala yun. Ah, ganyan. But it's not saying that what you did will happen to them, but
Yes,
it's
yes,
just
Yeah.
saying your experience. That's why we said we will talk about your journey as a homeschooler because each individual has a different journey, right? Like Pia
yes.
has a different journey, Earl has a different journey. I may have a different journey soon as I get into this.
Yes.
So we
You're
will
gonna be
see.
writing
We
your
will
own story.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You're
Yes,
gonna be writing your own
yes.
story. And because different personalities will give different output. So for probably someone who's not as extroverted as Ethan, it will be a total, because I've met a lot of homeschooled kids. Those who have graduated from college, those who are already working, those who are still being homeschooled, those who were homeschooled since birth, never went to a regular school. I've met some of them as well. So I don't really see a lot of difference. I mean, they're typical children, but what I'm trying to say is that I don't see any stigma with them na para silang may label dito nakalagay homeschooled. There's no such thing as that. I mean, they're just typical. And iba-iba eh. Like, yung iba ayaw bumalik sa regular school. Yung iba gusto bumalik. Eh, eto nga, babalik lang kasi sa friends. So, di ba? Magbabayad kami ng tuition fee. para sa
Because
friends.
that's who he
Competing with
is
my
and that's
friends.
how he is. He really wants to be with friends. Di ba may ganun naman talaga?
Pero very particular. It has to be in the same school. It's not like, it's very particular with that because of the set of friends in there. So it's like, okay, so
Yeah, but at least now, Mom, they'll have to enroll with us. They're gonna be homeschooled. Yay!
a lot of people are actually talking to me, say, "Oh, what are we going to tell our children?" Actually, there's nothing to tell. I mean, it's COVID-19. One
Yeah.
word. It's COVID-19. So I even told him, "O, paano yan? Lahat na kayo ngayon homeschool." Kasi whether you're doing online or distant learning, you're kind of homeschooling because you're going to be doing it at home.
Yeah.
And most of the work will be done independently, especially for the higher grade level. So I'm pretty sure his classmates will basically be doing things on their own. So you're technically mag-Zoom na lang kayo, sabay-sabay kayo mag-aral, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. But surprisingly, I heard from my daughter. My daughter is in college already. That there are some that are finding it difficult to adjust. Yung nag-turn into an online class, not
I heard of that.
really
Yeah.
socialized.
Yes,
So
yes.
there are some that who's gone through anxiety, diba? So yeah, as you said, it's not for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between if you're shifting to the online learning right now, like what other schools are doing, that's not really homeschooling because really
Yes.
homeschooling is
Yes.
the parents are the ones teaching. So the ones with online learning because or online schooling is that the teacher pa rin, where your child is enrolled, that will be their main teacher.
Mm.
So kumbaga they have this accountability. Dun sa teacher. Okay, for example, that teacher said, okay, you have to pass this research paper next week whether or not you're ready for it, you really have to take in consideration na meron deadline na sinet yung teacher because that's your main teacher.
Yes.
Sa akin, dito sa homeschool, sa akin siya sumasagot because this is our homeschool. So
Yeah.
with online learning, I guess the anxiety also came not just because of it's at home. Nagsama-sama, I guess, because it's COVID. So, and then you're not with your friends physically. Because when we were homeschooling, we were always outside. And you can see my FB pages na hindi na yata kami nauwi sa bahay.
Yeah.
So,
Yun nga eh.
yeah. So, kami rin, we're actually affected. Kasi nangyayari rin sa kanya ngayon, online din. I think, see, Earl also mentioned that pati MAPE niya is being done online. Imagine music, arts, and PE being done online. That's kind of weird
Yeah.
also to feel for a child. I
Yeah,
felt
pero I
that.
think a lot of the anxiety also stems from the fact that they don't know what they're doing and why they're here. That's what I said a while ago. You've got to settle those issues and you've got to communicate a lot with the parent about what's going to happen. Because if you're not going to settle these now before the school year starts, you're going to have this like negative connotation or stigma of homeschooling and what you're doing. You're going to get anxiety, you're going to have this parang, oh, I hate this so much because I'm not with my friends. It has to be explained to the child then. Because yeah, as Tita Jenny said, sometimes the parents already make up their minds and they don't really hear out. They don't tend to hear them out.
But the
So I really
thing,
do think that this is
yeah.
especially the time to hear them out.
Yes,
But the thing
I
is,
agree.
I think kasi those who were still in school and they have to finish the term, there's
Yeah.
no way of
Ah,
explanation
yeah.
why you're going online because it's a sudden thing. You really have to
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you can do the class face to face anymore. So parang walang you haven't really prepared the child for it.
Yes,
We
yes,
thought
I think so.
it's not a big deal, right? Shifting,
Mm.
itutuloy natin yung rest of the classes online because we
Yeah,
cannot
yeah.
meet face to face. Pero
Mhm.
iba pa rin pala yung impact. So, hindi
Yes,
prepared
yes,
eh. Well,
yes,
sino bang prepared? No one's prepared. No
yes.
one knew that
Yep.
this COVID
Mhm.
thing will come.
Mhm.
So yun.
I think intervention really has to come from the parents, not just from the school, but from the
Yeah.
parents. That's what happened during the time of the COVID, in the middle of the ECQ, among the parents in homeschool, we talk. And then we were thinking about how do we address mental health at this point in time? Because even as adults, we get anxiety, we get
Yes,
depression, we have negative thoughts about this COVID thing. So we were thinking, that's us. How about this age? And how about the age
yes,
of like 8, 9 years old, 10 years old? So you really have to address it. And I even remember in the middle of the lockdown, we talked to a life coach, and then the life coach came up with a module for the kids. So just to guard on that mental health.
Mhm.
Na parang they have this weekly thing that they meet together online. And then the
that's
life coach
good.
would
That's
talk about
actually
something. So you see, that's when we intervened because we felt that there was a need for it as parents. So, yun, so I guess really has to come from, we cannot expect it from schools though, or from teachers, because I'm pretty sure they're also just, they're thinking of a lot of things as well. So, as parents, that has to be something that you addressed with your children.
parents have to observe na rin, what's going
Yes,
on.
Yeah.
yes, yes, true.
Although sometimes kasi the teen, they have their own world na. They have their own set of friends. I mean, coming from my kids are in a traditional school, and
Mhm.
I can see yun, so parang sila may sarili silang mundo and all. And sometimes we moved away from that, or they moved away from us. Parang okay,
Yes,
I'm doing this thing. So ikaw
yes,
naman
Yeah.
hinahayaan mo na, okay, you have. And sometimes nakakaligtaan natin to look into kung ano what's inside. And
yes,
also
yes,
most of the
true.
time they are not able to reach out to us what's going on inside. Comes
Yes.
out when it's already the worst. Parang, 'di ba?
Mhm.
Yung mga last
Mhm.
minute saka ka na kausapin that there's already something wrong. Really
Yes,
something
yes.
that's taking up to anymore. Yeah. The way I see it, I think it's homeschooling has, I mean, based from your thoughts, opinion that you've shared earlier, and based from Earl's talk earlier as well. I also watched a few homeschooling parents online on YouTube. And the thing about homeschooling is somehow the connection between the parents and their children,
Yes,
Yes. Very
yes,
true.
and
yes,
that is somehow growing bigger as time goes
yes,
by. I do
yes,
believe that's
yes,
very, very important at this point in time. Point in
yes.
time wherein our kids are already on social media, on all the gadgets.
Mhm.
Putting connection with each other is very, very important.
Mm, mm. Thank you for pointing that out, Jenny. Actually, before we wrap it up, I just want to say that thank you for bringing that up because actually yun pala yung gusto ko sabihin. Because I thought about it and I remember telling this to Ethan and I told him that, you know what, maybe 10, 20 years from now, you would look back into this phase in our lives that when you were a teenager, you were homeschooled. And it's not normal because the other kids are, sent to a regular school.
Mhm.
But come to think of it, those are your formative years as well. Those are your years that I will forever treasure because at one point, lalo na him, he's always very vocal telling us that, you know what, I'm going to go abroad. I'm going to go to this place. I'm going to study here. I'm going to travel. So I know at one point, I will really have to let go. And so I told him, just remember that there was this full 4 years, grade 7 to 10, that you were with us, that I know how much you hated my nagging, my bibig, my Ethan, ano ba
Hindi
yan?
niya naman
Ganyan.
sinabi yun. Hindi niya sinabi yun.
Yeah. Ako na nagsasabi na nabibwisit din siya sa mga ganun ko. Pero I'm just thinking that it may sound like ngayon parang futile yung wala, parang wala lang ganun. Pero I told him na yung 4 years na yon, you spent it with us. You spent it with your sister, even though you're fighting a lot of times. So, yeah. Okay, and then us, kahit na lagi tayong nag-aaway, di ba? So, okay lang naman kasi at least magkakilala na tayo, di ba? Alam,
Yeah.
alam na alam ko na. Kaya alam ko to pagka kung may ginagawa eh. Di ba? Alam na alam ko na kasi kilalang kilala ko siya. So yun yung nate-treasure ko na lagi ko sinasabi sa mga anak ko na pwede kong i-claim na nakita ko talaga right before my very eyes kung paano nag-grow yung mga anak ko, not just as a student, but as individuals, as children who were actually entrusted to me by God. These are children who were entrusted to us. So, entrusted borrowed, hindi talaga us, di ba? Parang gano'n. So,
Yeah, true. Some
yun na
point
lang
in
yung
time,
iniisip
they will
ko.
leave us in.
Yeah, so ang sabi ko sa kanya, okay lang yung time, kasi darating naman yung time, I'm pretty sure, eto totoo to, na darating yung time, pipiliin niya talaga yung friends niya. 'Di ba? Na talagang lalabas to, sasabihin niya,
Yes,
Mommy, I will
yes.
have to
I
go out.
agree with
Or,
you.
yes, at saka pag nag-college or siguro nagtatrabaho na siya, he's already working, he would really have his own set of friends. He'll probably move out. I really feel it. He's so independent. I feel it that he will. And I do encourage it as well because that wasn't encouraged in our generation. So I would encourage it. Yeah, if you want to do it, just to be able to stand on your own, then okay lang with me. So I know it will come, and if it comes, will I be able to bring back the time? No more na. So I'm just saying like, etong 4 years na to, bigyan mo na sa amin. Pagkatapos nito, well, okay na. Alam ko naman eh. Alam ko naman pagkatapos nito. Yes. Then I've done my part. Pero, ako pa rin yung nanay mong maggagagaling-galing sa'yo.
Natawa kasi ako pa rin yung nanay mo magagaganon sa.
Yeah. I told him that, na kahit na 4 years old ka na, pag may ginawa ka pa rin mali, you will hear a lot from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna be on the other side of the world and she's gonna ring my phone.
yes. Yeah, because I didn't raise you that
I think
way. So,
Yeah.
Ethan is doing great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Let's see. I'm praying. I'm praying for that.
Yeah.
We don't really know what's gonna happen in the future. So as parents, we do our best. We try our best. But after this, it's really up to them whether they're going, di ba, yung discernment, yung judgment
Yeah.
nila, it would really be depending on them already. So yeah, I'm praying for that. I pray for the day and the time that I would really see my children. Sabi ko nga, it's not like, I don't want to hear people say, uy, ang talino ng anak mo. But I also want to hear like, uy, ang bait naman ng anak mo. Uy, ang responsible naman ng anak mo. Mga ganon. Hindi, narinig ko naman na. Okay na. Narinig ko na.
Thank you. Thank you.
Narinig ko na sa kami na kami. Narinig na kami ni Dad.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much. Ethan, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you
here.
both
Pia,
for
thank you for
inviting.
allowing us to come on board and talk to us about his own homeschooling journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for giving us an opportunity, for giving, this is our family story, not just our homeschool story, because we treat homeschool as our lifestyle as well. So thank you for inviting us. And for the people who are watching, this is our own experience. We're not claiming to be experts in homeschool. We've been homeschooling for
Yes.
7 years, but this has worked for us. Along the way, there were a lot of bumps, but we came through it. This is our 7th year, so it's something that you have to pray for and you have to
Yeah.
really decide with your heart on it.
Mhm.
And
All
thank
right.
you, Jenny.
Thank you so much, guys. And I hope
Thank you,
to
John.
see you again soon.
Yeah.
Physically.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Jenny
John,
and
thank you
John.
so much. Ayan,
Yeah,
nagkaroon
I'm
Yeah.
tayo
so
ng
happy.
short and
Yeah.
sweet reunion.
Yes, yes, kanina nag-pick out si Earl. Gusto ko talagang, I really want to jump into the screen and say, oh my gosh, I'm just so happy that you guys are, like, I
Perhaps we
felt
should do
like you
that, like
guys.
a Zoom,
Zoom
perhaps
reunion.
Yeah.
an online reunion. I think yun na
Yes,
lang
yes,
yung
yes.
magagawa natin sa ngayon.
Yes, yes. I remember just a little see Earl is also my teacher's mate and she's always my group mate in most of the subjects. And then I see John, siya yung talent ko dun sa sa MTV ko nung college. Oh my gosh. I just love to
So ako
reminisce.
naman,
It's so
ako
good.
ata yung subject sa photography class, kami ata yung magkasama.
Yeah,
Tama ba,
no, I
John?
was there. I was there. I remember at the Cultural Center of the Philippines, we were just covering ourselves to change. Yeah, see, you don't remember. Oh, I know. You were the subject of an MTV also of Alvin Bagasan. So,
Yes. Ang
oh
saya
my
lang
God.
mag-reminisce, ano. Next time,
Yeah,
gawin
yeah.
nating ano yan, next episode.
Oo nga, we
Something
should
like
make an
that.
episode like
College
that. Yeah.
reunion. Something like
Yeah, and
that.
it's nice to collaborate again. It's very nice to collaborate again, Jenny, with you. I told my son you were a really
Thank you.
good singer. You are a really good singer, and he
Yes.
said he wants to hear it. Sabi ko, sige, I'll
Pinola mo
show
naman
you.
si Ethan.
Yeah, hindi totoo talaga. Magaling kumanta si Jenny, sobra. As in. At si John taking her hand ever since.
Yeah, I saw his concert.
Yeah,
So
si Big
cool.
Man na yan eh. Si
And
Dan.
Earl, he was telling me kanina that Earl was really, really good in speaking. And I
Yeah.
just said, oh my
Yes.
gosh, ever
She's a
since
speaker.
college, she's always been that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because of that. Thank you so much, guys. And I really hope you
Yes.
God bless. Happy Sunday. All right, that was Ethan, and we also have Pia, Ethan's mom, share with us their story. I hope you guys learned a lot from this episode. I really just enjoyed seeing them, yeah, and hearing from Ethan, guys. He's 15 years old and he just speaks a lot, he communicates well, and I believe he was able to share with us all the struggles he had. Not so much, I believe, but most of it because the boy, I mean, Ethan loves to learn, and that's just so amazing and inspiring, I believe, for our children. And Pia has done a good job with Ethan. So I will leave you with that. And if you guys have any other topics or issues that you want to discuss for our next episode, just feel free to message me and I will do and try my very best to find the right person to share with everyone their experiences and all their field of expertise. Before I end this, I would like to thank once again our classmate and dear friend John. John, John, would you like to show yourself? Yeah, he sponsoring this thing and has done all those beautiful, wonderful things, which reminded us about all our, I mean, our college days when we were doing production and all. So yeah, actually, I is pushing me forward to do more of this and probably make it better for all of you who are watching. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next Sunday.